Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glorifications to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone, and salutations to the elect. This video, I'm going to be responding to some articles that just came out. Israel Hamas agreed to ceasefire to end bloody 11-day war.
Folks, I've just spoken with Prime Minister Netanyahu. Earlier today, I spoke with President al-Sisi of Egypt. Prime Minister Netanyahu informed me that Israel has agreed to a mutual unconditional ceasefire to begin in less than 2 hours. The Egyptians have now informed us that Hamas and the other groups in Gaza have also agreed. In my conversation with President Netanyahu, I commended him for the decision to bring the current hostilities to a close within less than 11 days. I also emphasized what I've said throughout this conflict. The United States fully supports Israel's right to defend itself against indiscriminate rocket attacks from Hamas and other Gaza-based terrorist groups that have taken the lives of innocent civilians in Israel. The Prime Minister also shared with me his appreciation for the Iron Dome system, which our nations developed together and which has saved lives of countless Israeli citizens, both Arab and Jew. I assured him of my full support to replenish Israel's Iron Dome system to ensure its defenses and security in the future. Over the last 11 days, I've spoken with the Prime Minister 6 times. I've also spoken with President Abbas of the Palestinian Authority more than once and part of our intense diplomatic engagement. And I want to also thank the Secretary of State, the Secretary of Defense, our National Security Advisor, and everyone on our team for their incredible efforts to bring this outcome that we're about to see. You know, we've held intensive high-level discussions, hour by hour, literally. Egypt, the Palestinian Authority, and other Middle Eastern countries, with the aim of avoiding the sort of prolonged conflict we've seen in previous years when the hostilities have broken out. I extend my sincere gratitude to President al-Sisi and the senior Egyptian officials who played such a critical role in this diplomacy. I also appreciate the contributions of other parties in the region who have been engaged in working toward the end of hostilities. These hostilities have resulted in the tragic deaths of so many civilians, including children. And I send my sincere condolences to all the families, Israeli and Palestinian, who have lost loved ones, and my hope for a full recovery for the wounded. The United States committed to working with the United Nations, and we remain committed to working with the United Nations and other international stakeholders to provide rapid humanitarian assistance and to marshal international support for the people of Gaza and the Gaza reconstruction efforts. We will do this in full partnership with the Palestinian Authority, not Hamas, the Authority, in a manner that does not permit Hamas to simply restock its military arsenal. I believe the Palestinians and Israelis equally deserve to live safely and securely and to enjoy equal measures of freedom, prosperity, and democracy. My administration will continue our quiet, relentless diplomacy toward that end. I believe we have a genuine opportunity to make progress, and I'm committed to working for it. I want to thank you all. May God bless you all and pray that this continues. Thank you so much.
President Biden there at the White House saying he talked with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu just a short time ago.
So that's enough of that. I'm going to read a little into this article. Israel and Hamas announced a ceasefire Thursday, ending a bruising 11-day war that caused widespread destruction in the Gaza Strip and brought life in much of Israel to a standstill. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office said Israel accepted the Egyptian proposal after a late-night meeting of his security cabinet. Hamas quickly followed suit and said it would honor the deal. Egypt's state-run MENA news agency said the truce would take effect at 2 a.m., roughly 3 hours after the announcement. In a statement, Netanyahu's office said the security cabinet unanimously approved the proposal after recommendations from the military chief of staff, and other top defense officials. The statement boasted of significant achievements in the operation, some of which are unprecedented and included a veiled threat against Hamas. The political leaders emphasized that the reality on the ground will determine the future of the campaign, the statement said. Tahir Nounu, a Hamas official, confirmed the deal. The Palestinian resistance will commit itself to this deal as long as the occupation is committed, he said. The agreement would close the heaviest round of fighting between the bitter enemies since a 50-day war in 2014, and once again there was no clear winner. Israel inflicted heavy damage on Hamas but was unable to prevent the rocket fire that has disrupted life for millions of Israelis for more than a decade. So, I guess for now they've come to a pause, but we'll see how long that lasts. So first, I want to bring out this 1 Thessalonians 5. Destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. So right now they're trying to keep everything under control, but when the Lord comes back, it's going to be like a thief in the night. Then there'll be no way for them to keep things under control. Then it'll just be all fucking chaos and destruction. I'm going to keep reading. The fighting began May 10 when Hamas militants in Gaza fired long-range rockets towards Jerusalem after days of clashes between Palestinian protesters and Israeli police at the Al-Aqsa Mosque compound, a flashpoint site that is known to Muslims as the Noble Sanctuary and to Jews as the Temple Mount. Heavy-handed police tactics at the compound and the threatened eviction of dozens of Palestinian families by Jewish settlers had inflamed tensions. Israel launched hundreds of airstrikes during the operation, targeting what it said was Hamas military infrastructure, including a vast tunnel network. Hamas and other militant groups embedded in residential areas fired over 4,000 rockets at Israeli cities, with hundreds falling short and most of the rest intercepted. At least 230 Palestinians were killed, including 65 children and 39 women, with 1,710 people wounded, according to the Gaza Health Ministry, which does not break the numbers down into fighters and civilians. Hamas and the militant group Islamic Jihad said at least 20 of their fighters were killed, while Israel said the number was at least 130. Some 58,000 Palestinians have fled their homes, many of them seeking shelter in crowded UN schools at a time of raging coronavirus outbreak. 12 people in Israel, including a 5-year-old boy, a 16-year-old girl, and a soldier, were also killed. So yeah, this is just telling you more about all the suffering that the Ishmaelites are going through right now. I'm going to play this clip.
The light. It comes from within. It drives you and it guides you to shine your brightest. As you charge ahead, illuminating the way forward, a light maker, recognizing that the impact you make comes from the energy you create. Introducing the all-electric Lyric, lighting the way.
Salakia. So I also want to bring out this Obadiah chapter 1. Vision of Obadiah. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from the Lord Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen, thou art greatly despised. The pride of thine heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rocks, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, Who shall bring me down to the ground? Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest amongst the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord. If thieves came to thee, if robbers by night, how art thou cut off? Would they not have stolen till they had enough? If the grape gatherers came to thee, would they not leave some grapes? How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee, and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. Shall I not in that day, saith the Lord, even destroy the wise men out of Edom, and understanding out of the mount of Esau? And thy mighty men, O Teman, shall be dismayed, to the end that every one of the mount of Esau may be cut off by slaughter. So the Lord is going to recompense these devils for all the shit they've done to the chosen people, the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. He's going to cause all these nations that made alliances with them to turn against them. No matter where they hide or what type of weapons they use, NASA, Space Force, bunkers, the Iron Dome that they have there, that's not going to be able to stop the Lord. So, I also want to touch on this other article. House approves $1.9 billion to bolster Capitol security after January 6th riot. And right here, this is also 1 Thessalonians, because they're saying peace and safety in this too. They don't even feel safe in their government buildings. So I'm going to play the clip.
New video from the FBI showing more suspects they're looking for involved in the Capitol insurrection. Meanwhile, the House has voted to move forward with a bipartisan commission to investigate what went wrong that day. Lindsay Watts is live at the Capitol with more of the new videos and whether we could actually see this investigation happen. Lindsay.
Jim, 35 Republicans in the House broke ranks today, and they voted in favor of this 9/11 style commission. So it passed the House. However, it is going to be an uphill battle in the Senate. Just hours before this vote, Minority Leader Mitch McConnell said after careful consideration, he opposes this.
The facts have come out, and they'll continue to come out.
Senator McConnell says a commission isn't needed to study January 6th because law enforcement and Congress are doing enough already to investigate.
What is clear is that House Democrats have handled this proposal in partisan bad faith.
The bill is passed. Without objection, a motion to reconsider is laid upon the
Democrats had the votes to get it passed in the House, but in the Senate, 10 Republicans would have to vote in favor to get a 2/3 majority. So this will likely be as far as it goes, inciting fury from some Democrats.
We have people scaling the Capitol, hitting the Capitol Police with lead pipes across the head, and we can't get bipartisanship. What else has to happen in this country?
2 videos released by the FBI today provide a new look at the assault on police. They show 2 men who still haven't been identified more than 4 months later. You can see here, one of them initially had a large stick, and when that was grabbed away from him, he surged at officers, grabbing a police club and using it to attack police. The second man shoves officers while wearing a sheriff's vest and a patch with the symbol of the 3 Percenters militia group. The FBI says he punched officers with metal knuckles. Among those calling for the commission-style investigation into this dark day, Family of Capitol Police Officer Howard Liebengood. He died by suicide 3 days after the riot. His family says in a statement, Howie's death was an immediate outgrowth of those events. Every officer who worked that day, as well as their families, should have a better understanding of what happened.
The FBI is saying today it has now arrested 425 people who took part in the riot. That's after getting hundreds of thousands of tips. The head of the D.C. field office says as difficult as it is to report family, friends, and coworkers, the American public continues to provide vital assistance, and they are hopeful after releasing these 2 new videos, they will find these guys. Back to you.
That news reporter looks like she could be a Jake. She looks kind of like a Gadite. So I'm going to read a little bit. The House on Thursday narrowly approved $1.9 billion to bolster security at the Capitol after the January 6th insurrection, as Democrats pushed past Republican opposition to harden the complex with retractable fencing and a quick response force following the most violent domestic attack on Congress in history. The bill's 213 to 212 passage came a day after the House approved the formation of an independent commission to investigate the deadly mob siege by President Donald Trump supporters who battled police to storm the building in a failed attempt to overturn Democrat Joe Biden's election. The 2 measures now face an uncertain outcome in the evenly divided Senate, as most Republicans objected to both and as some liberal Democrats opposed the security money. We have a major political party in the country that's ignoring it. We're trying to solve a problem. They clearly don't want to sit down and talk about it, said Representative Tim Ryan, Democrat, Ohio, chairman of an appropriations subcommittee handling legislative branch security. So, I want to go to this. Matthew 12 and 25. How would I do their thoughts? Said unto them, every kingdom divided against itself brought desolation, and every city or house divided against itself. So, Babylon is divided. These devils are divided amongst themselves. And so she goes on to say, this bill is not about politics. It's not about settling scores, DeLauro said. It's about ensuring that every person who comes into the Capitol is safe and is protected. Representative Lance Gooden, Republican Texas, argued that Democrats would rather spend money on a wall around this building in D.C. than they would on finishing a border wall advocated by Trump. Some Democrats opposed the added security measures as well. Minnesota Rep. Ilhan Omar said just before the vote that she had not been convinced of the importance of the money. Months in the making, the emergency spending package incorporates the recommendations from an outside panel of experts to beef up security after the violent mob attack. Already, National Guard troops have been protecting the building for months, and public access is severely limited, though razor wire topped fencing that stood as a stark reminder of the siege has been removed. An extended perimeter fence remains in place, cutting off access to the lush grounds that have been popular with visitors. The bill includes money for new fencing, either retractable or pop-in, according to Democrats, that would protect the grounds while removing the current perimeter. The legislation says the money cannot be used to install permanent above-ground fencing, reflecting the wishes of most members of Congress that the area should be open to the public. So yeah, they're just talking more about what they're going to do and what happened. So I want to get this as well. 2nd Esdras 15 and 16. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So not even regular Babylonians are trusting in the system anymore. Everybody's fed up with this shit. So that's pretty much everything I wanted to bring out. Lord willing, it was edifying. Once again, I'm going to give all praises, honor, and glorifications to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone, and salutations to the elect. Shalom.